Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Aidan King, rising star of the NOLA Gold. Shilo Shalosky, assistant coach of the Bay Breakers. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning, and the best dang recap in rugby. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it started with rugby's best recap. In Quincy, Massachusetts, New England took on San Diego in what all of us thought would be the game of the week. And the Legion, behind great rugby hooker named Hugh Roach, needed just 5 minutes to open the scoring. But then the Free Jacks looked every bit like reigning champs. And it was raining, as the experimental underwater cameras clearly or not so clearly demonstrated. But the Free Jacks were dominant on their way to a notice-serving win, despite losing second-choice fly half and our new favorite player, Falatoi Penny, whose name is misspelled on the league website. Hope he's okay. But tip your caps to Harrison Boyle, who took over the 10 spots seamlessly. Final score, 39-12 New England. In New Orleans, there was a pivotal Eastern Conference clash between NOLA and DC, and NOLA has historically dominated this rivalry. But in a back-and-forth first half, pockmarked with knock-ons, unforced errors, and sloppy play, it looked to be anyone's match. Until NOLA grabbed 10 points in the half's final 3 minutes. The second half ultimately belonged to NOLA and the fast-footed French international Xavier Mignot, who scored 3 tries in the final 40. Neither coach had any hair or fingernails left after this one. NOLA 51, Old Glory 29. In the Animals with Big Teeth Cup, the wounded Sabercats went to the Sunshine State looking to heal their wounds versus the struggling Sharks. But there was blood in the water and the Sharks sure as hell smelled it, stunning Houston and every single one of us experts, coasting to a 31-5 lead. Credit Houston for getting a key bonus point with 3 tries late in the second half. But Miami get the huge win, and Shane O'Leary is the new bald fly half. Meeks doesn't count. Final score, Miami 31, Houston 22. In Los Angeles, the stage was set for an offensive output in a run-and-gun match, and Rugby Football Club Los Angeles and the Utah Warriors did not disappoint. In a wild first half that saw the visitors sprint out to a 21-0 lead, and Dodger fans hitting the freeway just after 2 innings, LA came roaring back with 3 tries of their own. But in the second half, the home team was just too good for the visiting Mountain people. What? What's that? The Warriors dominated the second half on the road? Indeed they did, flipping the script behind Frank Lahore's 23 tackles and a pivotal second half try by Dylan Nell. Final score, 45-28, Utah. To Chicago for the We Don't Want to Play You Bowl, which always features the Carolina anthem. It was the Hounds' turn to tempt infamy. But blood, guts, and a pound of flesh, Mason Flesh, who had 2 tries, the first just 2 minutes in, 22 tackles, and 10 lineouts made, had the home team barking up the right tree. Flesh got help from the Butcher, Dylan Fawcett, who added 2 more key tries, helping the Hounds keep the no-quit Carolinians from spoiling the party in the Windy City. Final score, 28-20, the Hounds. Woo! And we could use a break. Let's take a coffee break with Rugby Morning's John Fitzpatrick calling in from Washington, D.C. John, hello, how are you? What do you have for us?
Yeah, Matt, as your recap mentioned, a wild weekend in Week 9. Let's start New England, San Diego. Certainly a scary moment there in the 36th minute when fly half Falatoi Penny went down. Good on Legion scrum half Richard Judd to hold things up there to make sure Penny was okay. He did have to get carted off. Penny did wave to the Free Jacks faithful. Hopefully he's going to be okay, but hey, Matt, injuries mounting up for the Free Jacks in that number 10 jersey. I don't think we're going to see Patros anytime soon here. New England on a roll, but is that roll going to slow? What do you think?
Well, before I answer that, just wanted to point out that Penny was alert and smiling and even laughing after the game, right? So he's okay. There's protocol for concussion, of course, and we'll see how that pairs out. But what a game. New England's putting it all together despite injuries. They're a pop-up team. If one guy goes down, you add water, and another guy pops up. And Harrison Boyle filled in, but they also have Dan Hollinshead coming in. He played with L.A. last year, but he was banged up. So was that whole L.A. backline. He's a quality fly half. He played for New York, Rugby New York. I don't know if you recall that. He was very good here. Great pickup. What?
You're burying the lead here. Journalism 101, McCarthy. Don't bury the lead. What in the heck is going on with the San Diego Legion?
They got up to that 5-0 start, but you know what? It's a league. It's a marathon. It ain't a sprint. And attrition and a player here or there going out or in or whatever makes a difference. And then you have to play on the road in New England, fly across the country. And for those of us that watched the game, we thought we were underwater. But what are you going to do? Wet cameras. Maybe we can fix that. New England's a good team. They're the reigning champions. They're clicking. Next.
Man, I know Houston was without fly half Davey Koitzer, but did you see that result coming from the Miami Sharks?
I did not. That was astounding. And to quote that cliche, anybody can win on any given night. I know it's a cliche, but it's true in this league. Next.
How about rinse and repeat here? Old Glory DC missing Jamison Fondana Schultz, Damian Hoyland, Jason Robertson. But did you have Nola Gold stacking 50 chips on DC?
I did not. And they were also missing fundies. Both teams were missing that person named fundies. Fundamentals. They were dropping the ball, knocking it on. Just unforced error, mind-numbing. If I'm the coaching staff of either of those teams, specifically in the first half, I'm going bonkers. And in the second half, NOLA seemed to calm down a little bit. But, Old Glory's got to be infuriated. That was a match they could have won despite that lopsided score. Next.
Now let's move to that RFC LA Utah game. RFC LA goes down 21-0, then comes back to tie it 21 at the half. And then Utah just runs away with it in the second half. Man, I know RFC LA, their logo kind of looks like your head there, but what's going on there in LA?
That never gets old. That never, ever gets old, by the way. LA's a competitive team. Utah's a competitive team. The shocking thing for me was Utah being the dominant team in the second half after both teams scored 3 tries apiece in succession, in the first half. That was a wild second half that we thought was going to be like the first half, but it wasn't, and kudos to Utah. Next.
Man, I know we're halfway through the season here. I've seen some wild power rankings out there, but give me your top 3 in the league right now. Boom.
Chicago, New England, and it's up for grabs, the third slot. I would say I'm gonna go Utah.
Ooh, okay.
All right. Crazy, wacky stuff. Final notes.
Yeah, Matt, hey, looking ahead to Week 10, we've got 2 Friday night games in MLR, but also this weekend, let's talk a little bit of college rugby. NCR, the CRC's Collegiate Rugby Championships taking place at the end of April, but they've got their Selection Saturday show on Saturday, 7 p.m. You can see the entire field, men and women. It's going to be a good time. Tune into that.
Yeah, I am stoked for that. I love the college game. I love the emergence of these schools that you never heard of that are playing rugby because they have the ability to build rosters even with foreign players. But the NCR, love it. I'm going to be at the CRC's working it. And I would strongly urge you to get out there to the Maryland Soccerplex for some great rugby and seeing some of the future stars that are coming out into the MLR and even the WER. How you doing? That's it. I want to thank John Fitzpatrick. We got to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap Up.
And we're back with Mr. Aiden King of the NOLA Gold. Kings and gold, that goes together. Aiden, welcome to MLR Weekly.
Thanks for having me. So excited to get through this and have a little chat with you today, Mike.
All right, well, listen, you're an interesting character. I've been reading up on you and studying you, and you're on the radar to be Rookie of the Year in Major League Rugby as of right now. All my pundit friends and I were all talking about it, so we'll see how that goes. And you don't have to comment on that, so I understand that. But just so folks at home get to know you a little bit and understand who you are, you were born in the United States. Your mom's from Nebraska. Your father is from England, or
yes, England. Yep.
And your mom's from Nebraska, but you ended up living in Alaska.
Yep. Yeah. No. So we lived in Alaska. I was technically born in Houston, but I lived there for like 2 weeks, and then went to Alaska for 8 years, and then we went to Brisbane, Australia. Lived there up till I finished high school, and came back to the States.
So hot weather, you came into this world. Then you moved to cold weather, and then you moved to hot weather.
Yeah. No. We like to shake things up in the King family. That's for sure.
That's the background there. So I assume that you started playing rugby over in Australia.
Yeah, I started over there, under 10s rugby at Brothers Rugby Club down there in Brisbane. Well,
did you have a favorite player, and did you have a favorite Super Rugby team?
I'll be a Queensland Reds fan.
Really?
For sure, 100%. Always be. I still watch the Reds weekly, get my Super Rugby in. But no, favorite player was always tough.
Pocock or Hooper?
I was a Pocock man myself, but having gone to his old school, high school, I was probably a little biased in that essence. But
he's going to move back and follow in his footsteps as a politician?
Probably not. No, I don't think I'm going to follow that side of anything after rugby. I'll probably just stick to engineering when I'm done with rugby and stay more in the design side.
All right, so cut to the present. Playing for NOLA Gold, you guys are coming off a much-needed good win against DC. Historically, your team has done very well against DC, but all that doesn't matter because of the way the rosters change in this league day to day. So it's really just an anecdote more than it is anything else. But what did you take out of that win against DC?
I think we finally found our groove as a team. You know, new coaching staff coming in this year. A lot of new players came in this year, and I think in the MLR, we've seen it this year already. There's been unexpected results all the time, and I think teams are slowly getting into their rhythm, and for us, that kind of launched our momentum, getting 2 wins in a row now against, definitely a better side in DC who's looking good and sharp this year. I think it's kind of reestablished some confidence and trust in what we're doing here as a team.
All right. I saw an interesting note about you, and it's on the website, so it's not, I can't take credit for doing some deep dive researching here, but it says that you write out an attack plan the morning of the game. I
do, yes. I write out. So my pregame ritual is always I'll write out all of our lineouts and all of our set piece moves the morning of the game, just to way to get my brain going, way to make sure I'm on schedule and on task with what we're doing that day.
So it's more of the stuff that's been established by the team in terms of plays. It's not you saying, I got to go get the number 5. I got to go, I got to get the number 9. I got to get the number 11.
No, for me, it's about, for us, especially at NOLA, we've emphasized the point of doing what we do well, getting our roles right at high tempo, at accuracy. So if I can do my role right, and I trust my other 14 guys, other 22 guys to get their roles right, at least the success like we saw on the weekend.
You're related to Toby Fricker.
Mm-hmm.
How happy are you that your last name is King and not Fricker?
Pretty happy on that. The King side is definitely, in my opinion, a better last name than Fricker, but I think he might beg to differ on that.
How is it when you play against each other?
Well, that was the first, our game against Anthony was actually the first time I've ever taken the field with him at the same time.
Interesting.
So it was a cool experience to take the field with him and get to play against him at least once.
If you had to pick another sport, what position would you play?
I go rowing and go back. Yeah, I loved rowing. It was tough, but it was.
You like sports that don't pay you any money?
Yeah, no, apparently. Well, I don't think I'd be any good at a lot of the U.S. sports. I tried my luck at a few of them. I'm not a great golfer either, so I think.
Well, I mean, you play. You're a number 7. You're all over the pitch. You could play football.
I could probably figure it out for sure. My teammates at Penn State always told me I could figure it out.
You can't go from 7 to sitting in a boat all the time.
Oh, at least it's physically demanding. It gets that out of you. Gets you around with 8 guys that are all just killing themselves for each other. So it brings some of the similarities.
All right. Well, it's a credit to you. I'm too shallow for that. If a plane crashes on the border of New Jersey and West Virginia, where do they bury the survivors?
New Jersey.
Is that your final answer, Aiden?
I'm gonna go with that. Yeah.
Well, it was a 2-parter. West Virginia doesn't border New Jersey, and and you don't bury survivors.
Fair point.
Okay, all right. Is Cam Dolan still wearing absurdly tight pants?
They've actually gotten a little looser, in my opinion. They started tight in preseason, but I think he's loosened up a little.
What group of islands is Paul Mullen from?
I know it's in Ireland. It starts with G, doesn't it?
No, the Aran Islands.
Aran Islands.
Aran Islands. We'll give you partial credit for that, okay? How do you say Joe T's last name?
Oh, Taufete.
Is there an extra syllable on the end there that you're missing, or no?
Taufete. Is it Taufete?
I'm going to go with that one. We'll give you credit on that one. Mr. Aiden King, thanks for coming on MLR Weekly.
Perfect, Matt. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
All right, we'll be right back with Hannah Stobler of the Bay Breakers after this. And now for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. Down in Miami and with the desperate Sharks hoping to tame the mighty Sabercats, Thomas Inciarte's brilliant effort and stunning try punctuated their huge upset of Houston and may have saved Miami's season. And that is your Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. Here's your TRO, the Rugby Odds MLR Picks of the Week via WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate John Bradshaw Layfield, legendary USA Olympic Sevens coach Mike Friday, and King Gipte Belu, inventor of words.
Yeah, I think Anthem's going to win a game this year. I don't know about 2 or 3, but they've been close in a bunch. They've been playing much better than what the spread has given them. So give me Anthem, who's getting 14 points against New England.
I'm loving that Chicago is on a hot streak, but they're going into Seattle, and as much as I don't care about the black hole, look for Seattle to be able to cover and win this game against Chicago.
I'm going to take the form team at the moment, hot to trot. I'm going to take NOLA.
And hey, be sure to check out the Rugby Odds, the critically acclaimed sports entertainment show featuring big-name talent, exclusive highlights, insightful opinions, and irreverent, if not downright naughty, behavior. And we are back, but we're not going to stay here. We're going to go to New York, where we caught up with assistant coach of the Bay Breakers in the WER, Shilo Shalosky, after the Breakers beat the New York Exiles. Check it out. Coach, big trip, big win. How do you feel right now?
Elated, so excited for the team. It's always a hard ask. When we're up here in New York, it's a physical game. They're a great team, and really thrilled for our team to find the connections and make it through.
So, New York got off to that fast start.
Yeah.
Quick try going the other way. You guys were pounding on their try zone for a number of times. They held you up a number of times. Did you see the score happening the way it ended up?
This is what we hoped for at the end of the game. As a coach, it put my blood pressure up a bit in the middle, but really happy to see them unlock it. Sometimes that's how games go. You get good opposition, that's what you want. Test your attack, test your defense, and we just kept problem solving and connecting all the way through.
So I was scratching my head on the sidelines a couple of times early on because there were some what looked to be healthy substitutions in like the 20th minute.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, you know, like the great
You hold it back, Coach?
The great breaking waves that we're named after, we are looking to just be relentless in what we bring on. So we know that we have strength after strength after strength on our bench. We bring them in, we just keep crashing on the shores, and our plan is to erode teams like we did today.
Well, it turned out to be strategic genius on your part.
That's right. That's
So-
something like that.
I would imagine that, this is the beginning of the league, right? Everything's a first. Big trip across the country. I would imagine you weren't flying first class, the whole team.
Sure weren't, yeah. We're super lucky to have the support of the league this year to be able to fly together and to be able to fly in comfort compared to what we've done in the past. So we are grateful for every moment we get to be on this pitch and that we get to compete like this in front of the crowds we have with all kinds of staff in the background, from medical to the operations to folks like you out here on the media side. So we're just grateful for every moment here.
And how do you prep practice-wise, training-wise for a game across the country?
Yeah, it's just building the fundamentals, building the chemistry between the team, making sure that we are able to execute what we need to from a rugby perspective, but also react to different pictures. And we try to give as much of that as we can. As coaches, our job is to create an environment that facilitates that adaptation. And you can see our athletes rise to the occasion when they need to and when it matters most.
Well, I got to tell you, it was exciting, and I am a New Yorker, so it's tough for me. It's tough for me being objective here, but it was exciting rugby to watch. And I just wanted to ask, you had a uniform snafu of some sorts? I mean, you had to get your uniform shipped in at the last minute?
Yeah, we had really close colors. The color schemes are both wonderful, but a little bit competing. So we switched over to the dark blues. It's a little bit of an old school look. We felt like they had kind of a barbarian look to them, and we're all about that. So happy to do the throwback and play in whatever jerseys get us on the pitch.
Well, now you have the conundrum that you won big with those jerseys on.
That's right. Maybe they're lucky now. You got it.
All right. Well, great talking to you, Coach. Continued success.
Thank you so much.
And we're back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News and Ray's Rugby. Bryan, how are you? It's good to see you.
Doing all right. Busy weekend of MLR action with certainly some surprise results, I think, almost across the board. Maybe not necessarily all, the winners, but certainly the spreads were different.
What specifically caught your eye?
Well, I think NOLA and Miami sent some reminders that they're still alive, so that was good to see. Utah, bursting LA's win streak, and the Free Jacks, from what I could tell on the amidst the rainy blurbs on the screen, it looked like they were again sending another shot across the bow of the rest of the league, saying that they are very much in this championship race again.
Yeah, it's good for the league. It's not good for some teams that thought they should win. You talk to Houston fans right now. They're on a 2-game skid, and losing in Miami. None of us that don't think we know what we're talking about saw that one happening.
Yeah. I mean, even with those, they had a couple, tries you could sort of, I don't know. I mean, they were legitimately taken off the board. But even if they had those scores, they still wouldn't have won. I mean, that was a clear win for Miami over a very good Houston team. So, I'd be a little bit concerned about that if I was a SaberCat fan.
A wee bit concerned. All right. Let's see what your clairvoyant / prognosticator skills are like. We've got the spreads from the rugby odds. And let's see what you think. The Anthem at home versus the Free Jacks. Free Jacks -14.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Free Jacks look pretty good. I have to say, though, Anthem, after Chicago went up, 14-0 pretty quick, I thought this was going to be a long day for Anthem. But, again, they showed they've got some ticker in them. So they'll make a game of this. But, yeah, I think two converted tries is about right for the Free Jacks.
Then you've got it's got to be a must-win in Seattle, but Chicago's going in there, and it's Chicago, the road favorites, by 7.
Yeah, absolutely must-win for Seattle, and geez, they're not looking good if you look at the standings right now. I mean, if they don't get this one, I think it's pretty much game over for the postseason. So a huge game for them. Chicago looked a little bit tired, though, in that game, against Anthem. After that opening quarter, they just kind of fell off the pace a little bit. So, I'll go with Chicago. I think you have to favor them. I mean, they've got 6 wins in a row, so you got to pick with them the favorites. But, man, I think Seattle's going to come out firing in this one. So this will be one to watch.
All right. Then's DC hosting Miami in Eastern Conference battle.
This game got a lot more interesting after the weekend. I don't think DC looked as sharp as maybe. Well, to be fair, I expected them not to be as lethal in that back line without Hoyland and Robertson. And Miami, I think, surprised a lot of people. They surprised me. I thought Shane O'Leary was absolutely outstanding for them. They're going to have a lot more confidence heading this one. This is a tough one to call. I'll go with DC at home. I don't think they cover that spread, though. I'll go DC by 3.
No, a nail biter. That's what you're going for. Let's see if they get some of those walking wounded back in the nation. Houston, -6 versus NOLA. NOLA now alive.
Yeah, what to think about this? Man, they got to find some kind of energy back at home. They really have to rebound. They've had a few games now where they haven't been super sharp. Obviously, they're missing Davy Kutzer. NOLA, again, man, their backline, Fido and Mina, and Julian Roberts has looked class as well. So really dangerous. This is a tough one to call. I'll go with Houston, but I think this one's going to be tight as well. I'll go Houston just under your spread by 5.
I mean, the goal that you have. You just passed Aiden King in the green room here because he was just on before you, and now you're picking against his team. San Diego at home. This could be a must-win for San Diego. -3 at home versus Utah.
Yeah, in terms of, confidence, certainly San Diego have just fallen, rapidly here, but they're still a classy outfit, and at home, certainly that'll help. They obviously
Stay classy, San Diego.
They obviously did not like the conditions out in Boston at Fort Quincy, so I think they'll be happy to be home. Utah look good, though. They really kind of a rebound in form in that win over LA, so this is a tough one to call, but I like your pick San Diego by 3.
All right, final thoughts, Brian, before we let you go.
I mean, halfway through the season now, everything is competitive. Even Anthem 0-7 are, I figured they'd have at least one win by now. I'm sure there's one in them yet, at least in the second half, but still a lot to play for. I think Seattle right now are the ones really staring down the barrel right now. We're going to have to see something life out of them soon, but a lot to play for in the second half of the campaign.
I think the Anthem could actually win 2 games. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. All right, but Brian, we're out of time. I want to thank you, Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News and Ray's Rugby. Thanks to John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning. Thanks to Aiden King of NOLA and Shiloh Shalosky of the Bay Breakers. And thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including the Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. Tell your friends about us. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.